Good morning, I am Dr. Yasmin Magdi, and today we are going to continue with Auditing 1 lectures. Previous two lectures, we discussed Chapter 1, an overview of auditing. While we discussed the chapter, we know the definition of audit and types of audit, objective of an audit, management assertion and transaction-related audit objectives. We differentiate between auditing and accounting. We discussed also generally accepted auditing standards. يبقى احنا في المحاضرتين اللي فاتوا كنا ناقشنا شابتر 1 وشابتر 1 كان اسمه an overview of auditing. ناقشنا في الشابتر ده definition of audit تعريف المراجعة، types of audit انواع الاوديت اللي عندنا، objectives of an audit اتكلمنا على ال accepted objective or main objective وال sub objectives. We discussed برضو المانجمنت assertions والtransaction related audit objectives وعرفنا what is the difference or what is the relationship between auditing and accounting and why we have a problem to differentiate between auditing and accounting. Also we discussed generally accepted auditing standards. ناقشنا ال GAAP or GAP اللي هي معايير المراجعة المتعارف عليها أو اللي تم الموافقة عليها. Okay, we know that we don't have a specific definition for an audit, but we have an accepted definitions. Also we know we had three main types of audit: operational audit, complaints audit, and financial statements audit, or what we call financial audit. We know that we have 5 categories of management assertions and we have 6 related audit objectives with these assertions. Also we know that auditing is starting from what accounting finished or ending, because we as an auditor looking for or making an assessment and making examinations of financial statements. Also we know that we have 3 main categories for standards: general standard, field work standard, and reporting standards. يبقى احنا عرفنا واحنا بنناقش شابتر 1 ان احنا ما عندناش تعريف واحد للمراجعه. we don't have one specific definition for audit, لكن we have an accepted definitions. عندنا تعريف واحد عارفينه، والdefinitions ده we discuss the elements of these definitions or the keywords of these definitions. كمان عرفنا ايه هي انواع or types of audit، وان انا عندي 3 main types: ال complaints audit وال operational audit وال financial audit or financial statements audit. وعرفنا كمان ان انا عندي 5 management assertions وعندي 6 objectives related to these assertions. Also we know the difference between auditing and account. وعرفنا ليه عندنا مشكلة أو we have a problem to differentiate between auditing and accounting. Also we discussed the generally accepted auditing standards أو معايير المراجعة، وقلنا إن إحنا we have 3 main categories of audit standards. عندنا ال general standard وال field work standard و reporting standards. دول reporting are related to the end result of audit and related to the objective, the main objective of audit, to express an opinion whether the financial statements is fairly representing the financial positions and the financial results. ده اللي احنا ناقشناه في chapter 1 وناقشناه على محاضرتين that we discussed in chapter 1 in 2 lectures. Now we need to know how we can or how to become a certified accounting public accountant. ازاي اكون certified public accountant, how to be an auditor, ازاي ايه ال requirements او ايه ال qualifications I need to have to be an auditor، ايه هي ال qualifications اللي المفروض تكون عندي عشان اقدر اقول ان انا auditor او اقدر اشتغل as an auditor as a CPA. Okay, so in chapter 1 in chapter 2 we will discuss the auditor. We will discuss in this chapter 3 main points. We will discuss entering the profession, education, training and certifications. Also we will discuss ethical standards, and finally we will discuss auditor responsibilities. This is the 3 main points in chapter 2. خلاص، يبقى احنا في chapter 2 هنناقش 3 نقط اساسيه اللي هي how to be professional auditor، وايه هي ethical standards، ايه هي المعايير الاخلاقيه عندي، وايه هي auditor responsibilities، ايه هي مسؤوليات المراجع. Okay, in this lecture or lecture 3 we only will discuss entering profession, education, training and certification. We will discuss globally, and also we will discuss in Egypt how to be certified public accountant in the world internationally, and how you can be certified public accountant in Egypt. Okay, let's start our lecture for today, and let's start how to be an auditor. As we mentioned before, in this lecture we are going to discuss only what is the requirements, what the certifications, what kind of education and training I need to be a certified public account or a licensed public account. يبقى احنا هنا في المحاضرة دي بالذات هنركز على الريكويرمنت اللي انا محتاجاها او الاحتياجات اللي محتاجة تأهلها، السيرتيفيكيشن اللي محتاجاه، الاديوكيشن اللي محتاجاه، التريننج اللي محتاجاه عشان اكون لايسنس اكاونتنت او لايسنس بابليك اكاونت او اكون CPA او auditor. اوكي، انا عندي some certifications or some needed or some requirements accepted for almost all countries and some requirement difference from one country to another country. يبقى انا عندي requirements عشان اكون public account or certified public account او اكون auditor بتختلف، في بعض الريكويرمنتس تختلف من دولة للتانية، وفي بعض الريكويرمنتس تقريبا كل الدول موافقة عليها. يعني ال requirements that all the countries accepted is minimum level of education, testing of applicants, work experience, continuing post professional education. يبقى احنا في 4 requirements that accepted almost for all countries. عندي 4 requirements كلهم تقريبا متوافق عليهم في كل الدول. المينيمم ليفل اوف education يعني تاخد الحد the minimum level of knowledge about this profession, about to be an auditor. For example, here in Egypt, you have to hold a bachelor degree in accounting. So you graduate from faculty of commerce, faculty of business, accounting department. يبقى أول حاجة عشان أكون certified public account أو licensed public account, و this is accepted for almost all countries, minimum level of education، مستوى الأقل خالص من التعليم. يعني ناخد بكالوريوس من كلية التجارة قسم المحاسبة. يبقى أنت كده أخدت first requirement. This is the first requirement, minimum level of education. Bachelor degree in accounting, this is the minimum level of education. دي أول حاجة. The second requirement to be a certified public accountant that accepted in almost all countries is testing of applicants. Testing of applicants meaning some institutions, for example, here in Egypt we have 2 institutions that are responsible for to accept a public certified public account. One of them is asking you for making some tests, and we are going to discuss the name of these institutions and the requirements in the part 2 of this lecture. But let's say that one of these institutions asking for testing the applicants, testing the one who hold bachelor degree of accounting and have an ambition or have a need to be an auditor. Okay. يبقى تاني حاجة عندي ان احنا لازم نعمل testing للابليكنتس دي. لازم اتأكد testing of applicants meaning I need to be sure that this applicants have the minimum knowledge in this part of education or part of the science. اوكي. يبقى انا محتاجة هنا بعمل التستنج ده عشان اتأكد ان اللي متقدم ياخد الشهادة او يتقدم يكون the one who is preparing to be an auditor عنده المينيمم knowledge. يبقى حضرتك هنا testing of applicants انت خلاص اتخرجت من الكلية ودلوقتي بتبدأ تجهز نفسك انك to be an auditor. عشان to be an auditor بعض الانستتيوشنز، وهنعرف بعد كده انه في مصر عندنا 2 institutions مسؤولين عن الموضوع ده، واحد منهم بيسأل او بيتطلب امتحانات. فعشان تكون certified لازم ادخلك امتحانات اعرف انت اذا كان عندك النولج بتاعت الساينس دي ولا لا، عندك معرفة عن الساينس دي ولا لا. تمام. طيب this is the second requirement. The third requirement is work experience. احنا ممكن يكون عندنا عندي المينيمم ليفل اوف education وعندي النولج بس ما بعرفش اطبق النولج دي في الريال وورلد في الريال لايف. يبقى انا لازم ادخل مكتب مراجعه. اوكي. entering auditing office وابدا اخد experience from other auditors او more experienced auditors. يبقى انا هدخل مكتب مراجعه وابدا اخد knowledge وابدا اخد experience من ناس تانية عندهم experience في المراجعه. وهنكتشف بعد كده ان الاكسبيرينس دي it's more important thing in auditing، ان احنا we based in audit we based on experience professional judgments. how you can build your professional judgment without experience. خلاص. يبقى work experience meaning you have to go to office audit office taking training for under the supervision of more experienced auditor. In a while we are going to know that having experience in auditing is the most important thing. auditing is basically based on professional judgment. How you can build your professional judgment without work experience؟ لانها بتقوم كتير جدا على حكمك انت الشخصي، فازاي هتبني حكمك الشخصي من غير ما يكون عندك خبرة؟ Okay. Third one, or the fourth requirement that is accepted in most of the countries containing post-professional education. هنكمل بقى، هنبدأ ناخد شهادات مهنية certified زي certification زي ال CBA وال CMA وال CA. اوكي. ال CBA عندي او ال CA عندي اللي هو ال CA او ال CBA اللي هي Professional Accounting Certifications. ممكن ال CBA دي بتبقى في اليو اس، وال CA بتكون في غالبا استراليا. اوكي تمام. يبقى الشارتد اكاونتنج والاكاونتنت الشارتد اكاونتنج والسي بي اي اللي هو لازم سيرتيفايد اكاونت، دي some of the knowledge or some of professional accounting certification. يبقى احنا بعد ما خلصنا المينيمم ليفل اوف education والتستنج اوف applicants والورك اكسبيرينس، ممكن تاخد post professional education، بتكمل post professional education. In some countries, by the way, in Egypt you don't need to hold post professional education or to have post professional education to be certified public accountant. It's not required. It's an extra need, but not required. But we will find in big offices like Hazem Hassan, Mustafa Shawi, this is auditor office in Egypt. Okay, he asking you to if you have post-professional education, if you have CBA, CA, CMA, and this is helping you in hiring in these kind of offices. تمام. يبقى دول الأربعة level أو الأربعة requirements اللي بحتاجهم عشان أكون certified public accountant، وتقريبا دول مقبولين في كل دول العالم. في بقى some requirements بنحتاجها extra يعني generally to be public accountant. One, you need to be technically competent, independent, and have good judgment. عشان تكون بقى فعلا public accountant, you have to technically competent, you have to be qualified in IT, as we know that most of the accounting transactions now we use computers, IT systems, so you need to have more information about or more knowledge, more experience in IT or information technology. Also, you have to be independent, and we will discuss in the lecture 4 what is the meaning of independency in auditing and what's its importance. But let's say that independency is the backbone of the profession. To be independent meaning ده العمود الفقري بتاع مهنة المراجعة. Okay, and have good judgment. As we said, we need to have work experience because most of auditing is based on professional judgment. So to be a good auditor, you have to have good judgment. Okay. Also, there is also need for understanding of financial statements and generally accepted accounting principles. As we discussed in chapter 2, we discussed the difference between accountant and auditors, and we said that an auditor need to know generally accepted accounting principles, you need to know financial statements standards, how to prepare financial statements, and this is the requirement to be a good auditor. This is the need. It's not an optional to have this knowledge or not. It's a need to have this knowledge. يبقى لازم تكون عندك معرفة كاملة بمعايير المحاسبة ومبادئ المحاسبة. Accounting standards والaccounting principles. Okay. Also, to practice accounting and conduct an audit, an auditor needs to be licensed, certified public account, chartered account, chartered professional account, or holds appropriate level of certification consistent with the rules of country. يبقى زي ما قلنا as we said لازم يكون عندي النولج اللي تتوافق مع ال requirements of the country. طيب let's say what about minimum level of education. Let's discuss the more specific international standards about minimum level of education. What is the meaning of minimum level of education? Minimum level of education اللي هي pre-professional education اللي هي دي وفقا للانترناشونال ستاندرد اللي هي الدراسة ما قبل بقى التخصص. احنا هندرس ايه عشان قبل ما اتخصص ابقى auditor. You need to enter into pre-professional accounting program should be equivalent of entry into a recognized university degree program. يبقى أول حاجة عندي لازم تدخل كلية. You have to enter appropriate audit university degree. You have appropriate audit university degree. يبقى أنت أول حاجة عندك لازم تاخد شهادة تخرج مناسبة عشان تقدر تكون auditor. You have to hold an appropriate university degree to be an auditor. This is pre-professional. This is pre-professional education. This is number 1. Number 2 must include elements of general education. لازم يكون عندك الحد الأدنى أو لازم يكون عندك حد الأدنى للتعليم. يعني okay you have لا for example as we said you have to hold bachelor degree in accounting. دي الحد الأدنى من التعليم minimum elements. Okay. You have to know at least you have to have pre-qualifications education. يبقى لازم على الأقل تكون تقعد فترة تدرس حاجة خاصة بالإديوكيشن دي. يعني مثلا احنا دخلنا faculty of commerce. اوكي ده الuniversity degree. اوكي كمان اتخصصنا we are going to specialize in accounting department. هنقعد كام سنة في accounting department؟ we have to spend 2 years in accounting department at least 2 years. اوكي يبقى احنا هنا دخلنا الكلية المظبوطة ودخلنا كمان القسم الايه المظبوط. طيب كمان لازم يكون عندي البروفيشنال سكيلز. لازم يكون عندي البروفيشنال سكيلز. ايه البروفيشنال سكيلز دي؟ تمام البروفيشنال سكيلز دي لازم يكون عندي اي سكيلز احنا بنحتاجها any skills we need to work in any organization. لازم يكون عندي المينيمم سكيلز. ايه المينيمم سكيلز دي؟ technical و functional skills. لازم يكون عندي زي ما قلت skills how to use a computer, how to use specific auditing apps أو accounting apps. لازم يكون عندي knowledge دي. لازم يكون عندي personal skills. لازم يكون عندي الصفات الشخصية. I have to have experience, knowledge. I have to have for example honesty. I have to be objective. This is personal skills. I have to have communication skills. As we said in chapter 1, the end result of the auditor is to make a report, to issue a report or to express an opinion. This is a way of the auditor to communicate with others, but also to gather or to accumulate evidence. You have to communicate with the management, you have to communicate with the employers in the organization or in the client office. Okay, you have to have a communication skills to communicate with the team of auditing, and we will know that we working within a team, not only one auditor. We are a team. We are working within a team. So you have to have communication skills to can communicate with your colleagues and can communicate with the client office and the client management. Also, you have to have business management skills, organizational and business management skills. يبقى انا عشان اكون الاوديتور لازم يكون عندي بعض المهارات وسام سكيلز اعتمد عليها وانا بشتغل. لازم يكون عندي سكيل تكنيكال سكيلز وفانكشن سكيلز. لازم يكون عندي الخبرات والمهارات المهنيه اللي انا المفروض استخدمها وخبرات استخدام الكمبيوتر. لازم يكون عندي بيرسونال، لازم اكون اونست، لازم اكون اوبجكتيف، لازم اكون محايد، لازم اكون امين. اوكي كمان لازم يكون عندي كوميونيكيشن سكيلز. لازم اكون عندي قدره على التواصل، لان عارفين ان انا بتواصل مع التيم بتاعي as an auditing team وبتواصل مع الاداره بتاعه الشركه اللي براجعها. فيبقى لازم عندي كوميونيكيشن سكيلز. اوكي كمان لازم يكون عندي professional values ethics and attitudes. لازم يكون عندي ethics خاصه بالاوديتنج. ايه الاسكس دي؟ الاسكس عندي لازم اكون objective، لازم اكون عندي integrity، لازم اكون commitment to professional competency، لازم اكون عندي ethics in relation to business و good governance. كل الحاجات دي لازم يكون عندي professional، لازم يكون عندي social responsibility. كل الحاجات دي لازم تكون عندي، لازم يكون I have ethics because as we said auditor using professional judgment while he is working. Auditor can have pressures from a lot of parties, from clients, from his own office, his own team. You have to have integrity, have knowledge. So I must have ethics, attitudes, values. I have to appreciate values. يبقى لازم اكون مهتم جدا، عندي اخلاقيات مهنه، اكون مستقل واكون محايد وما اتاثرش بالضغوط اللي عليا وما اتاثرش بالمناصب العليا. لازم ادي قرار independent opinion not have a pressure. ما اقدرش ما اتحملش الضغط من اي حد، ما اقبلش الضغط من اي حد. اوكي Also, we discussed about work experience. Work experience meaning the period of practical experience is performing the audit of professional account should be part of the pre-qualifications program. يعني حضرتك قبل ما تتخرج مفروض ان انت تاخد تدريب في مكتب محاسبة او مراجعة، وده يكون جزء من البري كواليفيكيشنز بتاعتك او البري كواليفيكيشن بروجرام بتاعتك. يعني قبل ما تاخد الباتشلر ديجري ان اكاونتنج لازم تاخد تدريب في مكتب محاسبة او مراجعة. البيريود اوف should be long enough، لازم تكون طويله، يعني ما تاخدش مثلا اسبوع، لازم يكون فتره، ولازم تكون be intensive enough to permit candidates to demonstrate they have gained the professional knowledge, professional skills and professional values, ethics and attitudes required for performing their work with professional competency and for continuing to grow throughout their careers. يبقى احنا المفروض لما ناخد الفترة التدريب دي ما تكونش فترة قصيرة، لازم تكون فترة طويلة enough، وتكون فترة محددة وانتنسيف فيها شغل كتير جدا عشان ابدا اجمع اعمل جيننج لكل الحاجات اللي انا محتاجها، السكيلز، النوليدج، الفاليوز، الاثكس، الاتيتيودز، كل الحاجات اللي انا عايزه اجمعها. لازم الفترة التدريب دي تكون كفاية. طبعا في مصر مفيش الموضوع ده، ولكن في محاولات ان الموضوع ده فعلا يحصل، وان احنا نبدا نعمل تدريب للطلبه قبل ما يتخرجوا من كليه التجاره قسم محاسبه، عشان التدريب ده يكون تجيب لي certifications ان you ended your training، وبالتالي اقدر اديك الباتشلر ديجري. تمام؟ يبقى you have to have experience or practical experience before you take your bachelor degree in accounting. This experience must be intensive to gain knowledge, attitude, values, ethics, professional, so you can continue in your professional and you have the minimum knowledge to continue in your professional. Okay, some of research of some of countries say that minimum this training must be from 1 year to 3 years. Okay, so within 12 months to 3 months credits for specific integrated professional account education. عشان تبقى بقى واخد تدريب شامل، يبقى بعد ما تتخرج ممكن تاخد من سنة ل3 سنين تدريب. اوكي، ده تقريبا البروفيشنالز، او ده تقريبا البروفيشنال education within او according to international standards. ده تقريبا التدريب او التأهيل المطلوب من خلال المعايير الدولية. Now let's discuss the entering the profession, education, training and certifications in Egypt. ايه الحاجة اللي احنا محتاجينها في مصر عشان نكون qualified enough to be an auditor. Entering the profession in Egypt, education, training and certification. In Egypt I have two committee or two institutions are responsible for the qualifications of the auditor of the certified public account. The Registration Committee for Accounts and Auditors in the Ministry of Finance and the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors. These are the two institutions or the two organizations that are responsible for the certifications or the licensed public account qualifications. جمعية المحاسبين والمراجعين المصرية، اوكي، وسجل المحاسبين والمراجعين في وزارة المالية. First of all, the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors. The Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors play a central role in the accounting profession. Okay, it's an organization of chartered accounts and it's responsible for developing education and professional standards. يبقى هي دي بتلعب دور مهم جدا. جمعية المحاسبين والمراجعين Egyptian Society of Accounts playing a central role. خلاص، هي مسؤولة بشكل أساسي أو هي مسؤولة عن تأهيل وتوفير الeducation, developing education for accountants and auditors. Okay, it functions like a practical body of accounting professionals. It's a member of International Federation of Accountants, IFAC, but it doesn't test whether its members comply with IFAC standards. يعني هي عضو في International Federation of Accounts، لكن ما بتختبرش إذا كان الممبرز بتوعها بيخضعوا للمعايير بتاعتها ولا لا. اوكي، هي بتطلب some requirements. Members have been admitted with they satisfy one or more the following conditions. لازم يكون الممبرز بتاعها have the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors have some requirements that its members should meet or should have. First of all, membership in institutes of chartered accounts in England and Wales or another acceptable foreigner professional body. لازم تكون عضو في Institute of Chartered Account في انجلترا، تمام، او معاك اي شهاده دوليه معترف بيها، اوكي، زي الCPA. Doctoral degree in accounting or auditing with 3 years of full-time work experience in practice. تكون حامل شهادة دكتوراه في الاكاونتنج او في الاوديتور او في الاوديتنج، وتكون اخدت 3 سنين بتمارس المهنة. اوكي. At least 3 years of full-time work experience in the office of practicing Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors member or equivalent, and successful completion of the two-part examination. The first examination is performed after half of period and the second at the end of the 3 years. تالت requirement to be a member of the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors ان انت تكون قعدت 3 سنين في مكتب احد المراجعين المسجلين one of the members of the Egyptian خلاص Society of Accounts and Auditors. بتقعد 3 سنين تتدرب في المكتب بتاعه او تدخل امتحانين. الامتحان الاول بعد سنه ونص من الفتره دي، والامتحان الثاني في الفتره بعد نهايه ال3 سنين. الامتحان الاولاني احنا بنسميه الامتحان المتوسط، والامتحان الثاني احنا بنسميه الامتحان النهائي. وبعد after you finish these two examinations now you are qualified to be a member in Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors and you are qualified to open your own office. تمام as an auditor. Okay, the second institution or the second organization is the Registration Committee for Accounts and Auditor in the Ministry of Finance. Okay. The Registration Committee for Accounts and Auditors in Ministry of Finance have a list of more than 30,000 registration accounts. Registration rules for to be a member in Registration Committee for Accounts and Auditors in the Ministry of Finance require a graduate to have a bachelor degree in accounting to register as a trainee accountant. يبقى اول حاجه عشان نتسجل في سجل المحاسبين المراجعين في وزاره الماليه، يبقى حضرتك هتتخرج من الكليه وهتاخد الشهاده بتاعتك وتقدمها، فهتكون حاجه اسمها تريني اكاونتنت او احنا بنسميه محاسب تحت التمرين. الترينيز اوكي عندهم trainees become licensed for first level as an accountant after 3 years of work in accountant office, which authorizes them to work as an auditors of a sole proprietorships and partnership enterprises. يبقى انت بتاخد الليفل الاولاني بتاعك من التدريب ان انت بتقعد في مكتب محاسبه 3 سنين. المكتب ده authorized، هو عنده authority ان هو يخليك تشتغل تحت ادارته وتراجع المنشآت الفرديه او الشركات الاشخاص. يبقى احنا بنراجع الشركات الفرديه ومنشآت الاشخاص واحنا محاسبين تحت التمرين. يبقى when we are trainee accountant as the rules of registration committee for accounts and auditors in the Ministry of Finance, we have 3 years. Okay, we working in the work audit office or accounting office, and we have the authority to audit sole proprietorships and partnership enterprises. Okay. After an additional 5 years، بعد 5 سنين بقى of experience, accounts obtain a final registration certificate. They become licensed to act as an auditors of corporations. يبقى احنا بنقعد 3 سنين trainee accountant بنراجع فيهم السولو partnership او السولو partnership enterprises، وبعد 5 سنين بنبقى certified او have an authority to او have qualifications to audit corporations or to be an auditors of corporations. Auditors are not required to take any qualifying examinations before registration the accounting registry. يبقى احنا مش في registration committee for accountants and auditors احنا مش مطلوب منا اي testing. We don't need any testing. All we need is experience, work experience. يبقى احنا كل اللي محتاجينه to register here is experience. Okay. Auditors can also register directly to the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors as a members, which qualifies them for a license to audit corporations. يبقى لو احنا كمان عايزين بنعدي بقى فترة ان احنا بنقعد ال5 سنين، فيبقى ممكن ادخل السوسايتي او Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors، وابقى ساعتها معايا certified enough ان انا اراجع الاوديت كوربوريشنز او اراجع الكوربوريشنز. يبقى انت وانت تريني اوديتور وانت تحت التمرين بتراجع الشركات الفرديه وشركات الاشخاص، لكن لما تبقى سيرتيفايد ومعاك وتبقى فاينل ريجستريشن سيرتيفايد فيبقى ساعتها ممكن تراجع الايه الكوربوريشنز. يبقى in Egypt we have two organizations, the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors and the Registration Committee for Accounts and Auditors in the Ministry of Finance. The first one, the Egyptian Society of Accounts and Auditors, need examinations, two parts of examination. The first one is after 1.5 years of training in an auditor office, and the second examination after 3 years of training in the auditor office, or after 1.5 years of the first examination. But in the registration committee for accounts and auditors, we don't have any examinations. All we need is experience in auditor office. We have 3 years experience as a trainee accountant, and after 5 years of experience we are certified to audit corporations. يبقى انا عندي في مصر مؤسستين. المؤسسه الاولى هي جمعيه المحاسبين والمراجعين المصريه، بتتطلب امتحانات عشان اتاهل فيها. الامتحان الاول بيكون بعد 1.5 سنة من التدريب في مكتب محاسب، والامتحان الثاني بيكون بعد 3 سنين من التدريب في مكتب محاسب او بعد 1.5 سنة من الامتحان الاولاني. لكن جمعيه السجل المحاسبين والمراجعين المصري في وزاره الماليه ده ما بيتطلبش اي امتحانات منك، ولكن بيتطلب منك ان انت تقضي 3 سنين محاسب تحت التمرين في مكتب مراجعه ومحاسبه. في ال3 سنين دول انت بيكون مسموح لك ان انت تراجع الشركات الفرديه وشركات الاشخاص. بعد 5 سنين من التدريب من حقك ان انت ساعتها تفتح مكتب باسمك وتراجع الشركات المساهمه للدوله في البورصه. اوكي. Now we ended our lecture. Next lecture we are going to continue with chapter 2 and we discuss the ethical standards and auditor responsibilities. Thank you.